Okay, hello YouTube world. Jordan Ray here. Another Google App scripting video. Hope you are social distancing and washing your hands and all those good things. Today we're going to build a email generator and send off some inline images attached to those emails. I'm going to kind of go through the process live as I think through it myself. My friend Carlos Galvez, the man, the myth, the legend, Carlos in Vietnam, has a spreadsheet that he generated, and he wants to, when teachers add a yes in this column, it will send off an email. Now, he wanted the emails to send when you change the field. I am going to suggest against that just because you end up running a script every time any cell changes, and because of the way the permissions work with the on change, on edit event triggers in Google Sheets and AppScript, I'm not totally sure that you can access the MailApp service from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to insert a little drawing, and we're going to create a button, and we will, let's make the shape this, and we'll just call it send messages. And what this will do is it'll send all the messages for an entire column. So let's just format this just a little bit more. How do I center that? Yep. Let's make this bigger. 30, maybe a little bit bigger than that. We can shrink. Ooh, too big. Let's go 36. Okay, that's okay. And I don't like that blue. We're going to change that blue to a nice orange. Kind of goes with the orange that he had. And let's save and close that. And here's our button. Now, I want to move this, shrink it down. Yeah, perfect. I'll put it right up here, and I'm going to freeze the up to current row. So that way you can actually scroll through here and still see the button. Now the goal is going to be to click this button, and then wherever the cursor is, we will be able to tell what column it's in, and it'll send those emails based off of an email address that is right here. I'm going to change this to my email address for testing. And let's fire up the script editor. Okay, so we already have a little bit of code in here. We're running Chrome V8. I'm going to dismiss that. And I also realized we need to actually inline some CSS. So I threw together a quick little bit of HTML. I'm going to copy that from CodePen. And some CSS. Throw that in here, style, close it, style tag, paste that in, and what that does is it gives us those CSS styles in line right here in the HTML. And we have to do that for the email portion because emails don't allow you to have style tags. All CSS has to be in line. So we can grab that. I'm going to, and this tool is called Juice CSS Inliner. There's an NPM package for it. It's a great tool. And you can find that with a quick, easy, simple little search. Let's come back over. We're going to create, no. We're going to create an HTML file. We'll call this email. I'm going to delete everything and just paste what I had. And then the only other thing, I'm going to take this assignment name and we're going to do some templating and we're going to call this assignment name. Actually, I don't like that. Assignment name with that camel casing. We'll save that. Now, back in our send pics, this is going to be the function that we run. This send pics, some of it's already been written for me, I can see here, and that's great, but we'll have to change a lot of this. But I'll go ahead and already copy the send pics. We'll go back over to our spreadsheet. Check out the send messages button that we built. There should be 3 little drop-down buttons, and this allows us to assign a script, and we can say send pics. Perfect. So now we end up with a problem that we can't click this or move it. If you right-click that drawing that you have, it'll actually highlight it for movement. But otherwise, if you click it, it's going to run the function that is attached. So I'm going to comment out this MailApp for right now. We don't need to send all that away. First thing we'll do is we're going to grab the HTML and we'll use HTML service. And we're going to create HTML template from file, email. And we need to then HTML assignment name equals, and this is where we're going to fill in that template. And right now we'll leave that blank because we need to get the cell location. Let's also do that. Let's say var cell. I should actually be using const. This is V8. I'm not sure that it really makes a difference, but I like to stay in the habit of using that. So get the cell. We're going to say spreadsheet. Let's go ahead and define that spreadsheet. Get active. That's our active sheet. And we'll get the sheet is ss get sheet by name, and we'll call that Johnson. We could actually get the active sheet because wherever you hit the button, that's where it's going to be active. So yeah, let's do that. Get active sheet. Yeah, let's do that. And then we need to get the cell, and we'll say sheet get active cell. Okay, so that cell then will allow us to get a range. Yeah, let's do that then. Const range. No, let's do row equals cell dot get row. And then let's get row values. And that way we can do sheet dot get range. And this way we can pass in the row. We're going to start at column 1. Number of rows, we just want 1 row. And the number of columns, let's say sheet.get last column. So all the columns. Though that's not really necessary, is it? Yeah, it is. We might as well. Because we're also going to have to grab the headers because we want to grab the assignment, right? So if I'm in this cell, I want to know the row and the actual assignment name. So we can do that also. Let's see if I can Let's get a let's get the column, and we'll say cell.getColumn. Declaring a lot of variables here, no problem. Let's get the assignment name. And we'll say sheet.getRange. We want row 4. We want the current column, so that variable we just defined, and yeah, that's it. And then we can say get value. So let's actually comment this out. We'll come back to that. I'm going to do a toast message, and we're going to say assignment name. And let's see if that works for us. So if I'm highlighted here and I click send message, I've got to give myself some permissions. No problem. Sign in with Google temporarily disabled for this app. I wonder if that's because I'm not on a edu domain. I'm going to pause and we'll be right back. Okay, so I spent a few minutes copying the file over to my edu domain for as a Google trainer, and it seems to be okay. So we'll just pick up from exactly where I left off. Little 5-10 minute diversion, which is annoying to say the least, but let's try to run this one more time. There we go. April 3rd, science. Perfect. So I got the assignment name when I have this column selected. So I can also do the same thing to get the email address of the selected row. So let's come back in. I got to reopen the code and everything. Script editor, because now I'm just working off of a copy of the original. Well, let's come on in here, and text is a little bit bigger. Perfect. So I'm just going to grab instead of in two different lines grabbing assignment name and email address, let's see if I can change this to, I get the row, I get the starting column, and so I actually want column 3 for the email address. I want to only grab one row, and I want to all the way to the current column. And then I'm going to say get values, and let's see what values are. It should be a multidimensional array. And so we've got email address, April 3rd, science, and then so it's grabbing that whole, yes, excellent. Okay. It's not going to work because I'm grabbing this cell, and yeah, so I don't want to do that. Let's just back up. Perfect. Assignment name, and let's just grab the email address separately. Email address equals sheet.getRange. We're grabbing the row, we're grabbing column 3, we're going to say get value. Okay. Now let's see. testing@gmail.com. Perfect. Now let's worry about this, about sending the email now. I can uncomment some stuff. Whoa, don't want to do that. Let's first uncomment this. Let's uncomment this. I don't need to uncomment that. but instead of a empty string, we're going to send assignment name. And we will need this picture. And we need to uncomment the MailApp. Now, MailApp is super helpful. It allows us to only request permissions for sending an email. I'm going to delete this email address here, and we're going to add email address. Congratulations, you've earned an assignment badge. Fix some spelling, and then body. By earning this badge, you are helping Dragon find his way home. Okay, and then we need to actually add some attachments to the parameters. Well, nobody has that stuff memorized, and if you do, memorize something else. Let's find the MailApp here. Where is it? Advanced? No. What am I doing? Let's just do a search. MailApp. Send email. And we want to do send email with options. So we want to do HTML body. It's going to be one of our options. Is that right? What have I done here? Oh, I see. I see. It's this code that we have in here. So I can remove email address. This is the subject. It's going to be a string. We don't need to tell it the body. And I think the attachments are going to end up as part of the, where are we? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's cut that. And paste it in here as an attachment. We want to do HTML body, and that's going to be our HTML.evaluate.getContent. We have to run evaluate because it's a template, because we've declared it as a template here and then given it a variable. So what that does is it places the assignment name in the HTML, and then getContent pulls it all as a string, and we're going to then send it as the HTML body. Then the attachments, I think we don't want to use that. We want to use Inline Images, and we can pass blobs in there and use image key. So what that ends up looking like is, let's change this to Inline Images. We're going to make this an object, and we'll call it dragon badge. And we can close that object there. There's something, this is just too many. Yikes. Okay. And the inline images actually then get placed. We can actually copy this over to our email, and in our image source, instead of passing it this external link, we will say, I think CID and then image key. And let's try that. And we're going to try, yes, let's try that. I'm going to come back over here. I put my commercial account. I'm going to do let's see what we have here. You have to have the correct cell highlighted. And we got an error. So let's see what this is. Okay, figured out what it was. I didn't have permission to the image. But now that I see the email, I'm realizing the absolute positioning isn't working here for the title. I'm going to go in and make one change. Where am I? So in this, I set the color to white. I'm going to remove that. And that should fix that. There must be a way to absolute position the text. I'm assuming there is, but I'm not gonna. It's not out of the scope of this video. This is all about these inline images, and then naming it, and then throwing that in here as the CID to the source. So that's all there is to it. I did break out one thing that's different here: email address, subject line, and body. I broke those out into variable names when I was trying to figure out where my bug was. I had an extra parentheses in the body, in this alternate body. So this body line here gets sent along if the browser is incapable of rendering the HTML. So when it's able to load this HTML and send it, and the browser can, whoever your recipient is, can read it, this gets rendered. But as a fallback, you provide this body here. So hopefully that is helpful. It doesn't quite answer the problem of how to send the email on change, but I think it actually is a little bit better to provide the button, because you might accidentally end up sending multiple emails if you change a cell more than once. You run into that problem. So this is a little more deliberate and still very easy to work with. Cheers, everybody. Wash your hands. Stay inside. Be safe.